All right. Well, welcome and thank you all so much for being here today. I know that we're going to have some people popping in and out of the call, given that there are so many different opportunities at this event to sit in and listen, but we're going to get started with UC San Diego's Cultural Resource Centers to share a little bit about some of the opportunities that students have when they come to UC San Diego. And of course, Rady, which is right behind me. You can see the building, beautiful view there. So my name is Julia Nemeth. I am with the Graduate Admissions Office at the Rady School of Management. I focus on the full-time MBA program. I am joined here by a number of colleagues. First of all, Christina Cook, who is in the background right now, but she's worked with our Flex MBA program. So if you have any questions about Flex MBA, know to ask for Christina Cook at the Rady School. I also have Amy Nguyen, who's joined us. She is our admissions coordinator. So she works with all of the MBA applicants, full-time and Flex. And she's also a current MBA student. So she's going to hang out in the chat and help answer any questions if you have questions about student life. And if you're watching the recording of this, know that Amy is definitely a resource. And if you're applying, she'll be the one taking care of you. At this time, I'd like to introduce Matt Alex. He is our Director of Admissions, and he's going to share just a quick hello and a welcome.
Hi, all. If you're taking the time to watch this, first of all, just start out by giving yourself a pat on the back. This is a great opportunity to invest some time and energy into yourself and just kind of investing in yourself and your future and your career and what you're going to do next. So it takes, you made a conscious decision to join us, to join this event, to learn more about UC San Diego or whichever schools that you were joining today. So definitely take some time, reflect on that, and give yourself some credit for that as well. We are here to be a resource for you. A lot of times admissions folks are seen as gatekeepers, but that is not the case with us. We are really here to be resources for you, to help you find the best fit program that is right for you. So if you are interested in UC San Diego and the Rady School, please come schedule time to meet with us. We are here to help guide you through this process. I know the admission process can be daunting sometimes, so we're here to help with that. We're here to help you understand if the Rady School is the right fit for you and if you're the right fit for the Rady School of Management as well. So when you meet with us, when we get to know you better, that really puts a real face with an application. It really helps us be able to tailor an experience for you so you can leave with all of the information that you need to be able to make a decision. So give yourself some credit for learning about our programs today. Don't let this be the last time that we connect. Please do continue this conversation with us. If you're watching this via recording, know that you can always reach out to us at radygradadmissions@ucsd.edu. That is radygradadmissions, plural, at ucsd.edu. But with that, I'll go ahead and hand it back to Julia, let her introduce Kyler and take it from there. So thanks all.
Thanks for joining us, Matt. And I know you're going to be in the background. So if we do have any live attendees, they can probably ask some questions. What I'd like to do now is introduce Kyler. Kyler is actually a current student, but he's specifically here to share some information about the Black Resource Center. Kyler, if you wouldn't mind just giving us a quick intro about your background, how you came to the Rady MBA, and then if you wouldn't mind just sharing some of the work that you do with the Resource Center on campus.
Yes, of course. So hello, everyone. Good morning, good evening, depending on what time you're watching this recording. My name is Kyler Nathan. I graduated from UC San Diego as an undergraduate student with a degree in cognitive science and African American studies minor back in 2017. And I currently serve as the facilities operations and events coordinator for UC San Diego's Black Resource Center, which is one of the campus community centers that we'll be talking a little bit about here this evening. I started the Flex Evening MBA program, which is one of Rady's part-time MBA programs this past fall 2020. And the reason that I pursued the program, of course, as I mentioned, I was already a Trident, having got my undergraduate degree. And just throughout my professional career in education, I've been looking for master's programs that would give me some marketability and versatility as I progress through my career and in the workforce. And the MBA just stood out to me as a potential opportunity to really grow as a leader, as a businessman, and just to put myself out there and help with my networking capabilities. And so I figured what better place than my alma mater, UC San Diego, as you see in Julia's background and some of the backgrounds that have been on the screen. UC San Diego is beautiful in general. Personally, for me, Rady has some of the most gorgeous buildings on campus. And I walked around those buildings and those conference rooms as an undergraduate student. And it was just somewhere that I felt like I could see myself. And so year one down virtually, looking forward to being in person and being able to be in these buildings and attend these classes. But yeah, I definitely don't regret my decision whatsoever. And I've enjoyed this first year so far. And yeah, at my work at the Black Resource Center, I'm in charge of keeping up the physical space of the Black Resource Center. Of course, once campus opens back, hopefully y'all will be able to visit our campus and visit our space, but also helping to program with some of the traditional events that we do on campus, which I'm sure we'll have an opportunity to talk about a little bit in the future, or in the future of this recording. But also when I was a student at UC San Diego, I was an intern at the BRC. So I'm just very familiar with the program itself and just what the BRC means for students on campus.
Awesome. Thank you. And yes, we're definitely going to get into the nitty gritty details of what the resource centers do on campus. But I wanted to start really quickly with just a general overview. So UC San Diego itself does have an area of Vice Chancellor of Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion at UC San Diego. And one of their responsibilities is to help develop and manage the campus community centers. And so campus community centers, there's a number of them. I'll kind of list them really quickly. There is the Black Resource Center that Kyler is going to talk a little bit more about, but there is also the Raza Resource Centro, which is that resource center focused on supporting UC San Diego Chicanx and Latinx students. Obviously, they use the X to create a very inclusive environment for all students and individuals that visit the space. And the Campus Community Center is staffed with full-time administrative staff like Kyler as well, but also student interns, as he mentioned. They offer a number of different activities, events, and resources meant to connect students, staff, faculty, and alumni, specifically in their culture. So like with this, with Raza Resource Centro, it focuses on obviously Chicanx and Latinx students. We also have a cross-cultural center, which is much more broad and really hopes to foster community among a variety of different communities, cultural communities on campus, in order to build that community experience and diversity. We also have an LGBT resource center, which again, open and public to all members of the university community, focusing on the challenges and definitions of different genders and sexualities as they engage on campus. We also have a UC San Diego Women's Center, which focuses again on the work of diverse groups of women and how to face gender issues. And the goal there is to promote an inclusive and equitable campus community. There is also UC San Diego's Intertribal Resource Center, which I absolutely love to visit. They help tie together members of our American Indian, Alaskan Native, and other Indigenous students who on campus. And then we also have the Asian Pacific Islander Middle Eastern Desi American. It's called APIMEDA. I don't know if they ever go by APIMEDA, but that's the acronym that we see. And they, of course, again, focusing on the Asian Pacific Islander, Middle Eastern, and South Asian folks in connections there. So all of these resource centers are, again, staffed by full-time staff as well as student interns. And what I'd like to kind of share, because we weren't able to have a member from Raza, I wanted to just kind of go through some of the things that they offer to students on campus. And so it is a physical space on campus, although again, right now under the pandemic, they are all closed, but they offer a number of programs, including research and conference preparation for students if they're going to be going off to different conferences. They have a first year and transfer student program for the undergraduate experience. They do a weekly writing collective. They have math and science tutoring. They have affiliate programs, student organization affiliate programs. grad school preparation. The space itself has a Chicanx library, a study area, a conference room, and a computer lab. So as you can imagine, this is a very exciting and lively place to be once we're all back in person. I'm sure that Kyler will also talk a little bit about the differences and how things have shifted and changed now that we've been in this pandemic world. But the Rasa Resource Center also offers specific resources for family members of students who are attending UC San Diego. Often students who come from Latinx and Chicanx backgrounds are often the first generation students. And so they don't necessarily have the same sort of support that they may have had if they've had generations of family members who have gone to college already. So this is a great place for the community center to focus not only on the student itself as a whole, but also the family, and to help support them in understanding what their student might need. So that's a little bit about the Rasa Resource Center, but I'm gonna leave that for now. And I wanna focus back on Kyler and sharing all about the Black Resource Center. So Kyler, let us know, take it away, give us everything you can about the BRC.
Yeah, so definitely do my best to give as much as I can, but the Black Resource Center, it was born out of student activism. I always like to start there first. The BRC was demanded by the Black Student Union to have a space where Black students felt represented and service the Black student population at UC San Diego. And so the BRC first opened its doors, I believe in around September or August of 2013. So just under 8 years old as a center. The center has 3 professional staff members, the director, Portia Curry, myself as a facilities operations and events coordinator, and then we just hired our new assistant director, Jay Rice, to the space. And so our professional staff were, of course, on the administrative end of the space, but we also have student staff. I mentioned I was an intern, or we call them student success leaders at the Black Resource Center, but we also have a peer guidance program, which is a peer mentorship program for newly coming first year and transfer students on the undergraduate level. But we also, of course, service the graduate student community as well. The Black Resource Center has a strong relationship with BGPSA, which is the Black Graduate and Professional Students Association. So graduate students partner with the BRC on programs to make sure they have some funding and space to hold programs, but also to advocate for graduate students to make sure that the Black graduate and professional student voice is heard when it comes to making sure that we have an equitable and diverse campus at UC San Diego. The BRC itself, its pillars is kind of part of the mission statement. We focus on scholarship, leadership, and community. So whether it's the physical space or the programs that we put on, all focus on cultivating community for the campus, fostering leadership, and making sure that our students are able to get the degrees that they came here for and be the scholars that they are. Some of the traditional programs that we put on every year, we have a Black graduate and professional student mixer at the beginning of the year to give the graduate students and professional students an opportunity to meet other Black grads on campus, whether they be in the same program or other programs, but just so that they know that there is community for them from the jump. And that's a way for them to get involved with the BGPSA and just know where their community is outside of their graduate program on campus. We also have a mid-year mixer program, which happens at the midpoint of the year, which, because UC San Diego is on a quarter system, is week 5 of winter quarter, where we invite incoming students, the first years, the transfers, but also the graduate students, staff, and faculty to come to the space and reconvene at the middle of the quarter just to check in, see how things are going, and making sure that folks are connected with the various resources on campus. As y'all know, UC San Diego is a big campus. Of course, Rady is part of that campus, but there's a number of resources spread across the campus. So at the centers, and this really goes for all the campus community centers, we make a concerted effort to make sure that our students know what resources are available so that they are able to maximize those resources. At the end of every academic year, which is actually coming up a week and a half at the time of this recording. It's crazy how fast time flies, but we have the Black graduation ceremony. So for our graduate and professional students who are receiving their masters or PhDs or EDDs, as well as for the undergraduate students, we put on a Black graduation ceremony, which is an opportunity for students to be celebrated with the emphasis on the Black student experience. So traditionally, when we're on campus, there's usually African drummers that are leading the procession of graduates. Everyone's family is able to come, and there's no limit on how many people can come to the graduation. So cousins, aunties, uncles, whoever in the family can make it to San Diego. Black Grad is just a way for all of our students to be celebrating and really acknowledge the accomplishment that they have graduating from UC San Diego. But also the last thing I'll kind of touch on for now are the physical resources that the BRC provides. I already mentioned that we have the space itself where students come to hang out. And one thing that I always like to highlight, I think sometimes people hear about the campus community centers and they think that it's something that you have to sign up for or register to be a member of, but there really exists as spaces for students to just go and be. Many of the spaces have couches, they might have kitchenettes, and just areas where you can just come, have your lunch, lounge, talk to people, engage in the programming that's happening, or just use the space to your needs. There's computer labs in many of the spaces, including our space. And something unique about the BRC is that we actually allow students to print for free up to 5 pages a day. So that's definitely a resource that many graduate and professional students like to utilize, because although there are some places on campus that you can print for free, there's definitely not many places on campus. So just being able to have those resources for students. We also have a library that has a lot of Black literature as well as some Black movies. So if you want to rent out one of those movies or books, you can do that to your purposes as well. And then one of the main things that I feel a lot of graduate and professional students use our space for, we have a reservable conference room as well as office spaces. So if folks want to hold TA office hours, or if you want to have a meeting, some graduate and professional students even reserve our conference room to practice their dissertation or defending their thesis. So a lot of ways that you can utilize the BRC. And because we are such a young space, having only been on campus for 8 years, we're still growing in what we're able to offer and what we're able to do as a space. So we are always open to student input, because of course we're student serving first. So anytime that the Black graduate and professional students, or maybe even the BSU, may come to us with needs or things that they would like to see from our space, whether it's programming or physically, we try our best to meet those needs, because we want to make sure that we always keep an ear to the student body community and make sure that we're providing the resources that students need. And further down the line, we hope to have like a liaison within the Graduate Student Association, and just to be able to have a paid position full time that specifically works with the graduate and professional students, so we can make sure that that's something that's embedded within our center. So always looking to grow, always looking to support the students that we have. And yeah, I think that's a kind of a long elevator ride, maybe like a 30 floor elevator ride, but elevator pitch at the BRC.
No, I truly appreciate that so much. And I think, I know for myself, having come up through the UC system, knowing that there is a space for yourself, a space where you can go and be comfortable, where you can go and share your experiences with other people who have had experiences like yourself. All of that means so much. And I think that UC San Diego definitely leads the charge among many of the UCs. Obviously, Berkeley has been around a long time. LA has been around a long time. San Diego is definitely up there. I think what makes San Diego very special and unique also is that we have a lot more focus on kind of tech and sciences. Now, you've come specifically from cognitive sciences. Would you say, but you also kind of couple that with the Black Studies minor. So tell me a little bit about that experience. What was it like to come into this, highly science focused university, and meeting others who were interested in similar paths?
Yeah, definitely. So I am a first generation college grad. So I honestly didn't know too much about just the college environment in general when coming into UC San Diego. But just visiting campus and learning about the resources and the academic program itself just made me know that UC San Diego would be a place where I could grow and develop holistically. And so during undergrad, I actually came in undeclared and took that first couple of quarters to just figure out what exactly I wanted to do on campus. And so there's plenty of introductory courses out there for students to take. And so I took a couple of classes, and I took a human development class and really enjoyed the class. And at the end of the class, the professor for the class, He suggested cognitive science or human development as a major for students who were interested in the class. And so I ended up choosing cognitive science after looking through the website, looking at some of the research that was being done in CogSci, looking at the classes that were being offered. And it just felt like I was going to enjoy that major the most and have the most versatility within what I would get out of my undergraduate career. And a fun fact about UCSD, it's actually kind of the birthplace of cognitive science. They had the first cognitive science program in the world. And so what better place to get a CogSci degree than where it was born? And to touch on like meeting people with a variety of different interests and interested in the sciences and STEM, but also UC San Diego, although it's not known for the humanities, it has like really good humanities and fine arts programs. And so you meet so many different people with a vast variety of interests, with aspirations, and people who have big ideas, people who are looking to make a big impact on the world. And so I felt like whether it was in my classes, in student organizations, or just talking to staff and faculty, I was always coming across somebody who was doing something exciting, doing something new, doing something innovative. And so that's what I love most about UC San Diego and why I wanted to stay there for a graduate degree, because I knew that innovation was a key part of UC San Diego. One of the mottos in the past of UC San Diego was break things better, which I really identified with because it was like either it's breaking a leg, doing breakthroughs. You just want to make sure that you're not staying stagnant. And that's what I felt out of my undergrad degree. Also, the MBA program I felt was one that wasn't just your standard MBA program with like a lab to market sequence, was something that stood out to me when applying to Rady. And so, yeah, I felt like if I was to choose a pathway at an institution that would have allowed me to grow holistically, but also challenge me to step outside of my comfort zone and take rigorous coursework or get involved with research, I just saw that there were a wide range of opportunities for me here.
It's amazing. Thank you so much for that insight, Kyler. We're about 3 minutes down, so that went really quickly. Sometimes it's hard to fill the space, but you've really given us some great insights as to what kind of support system students can expect through the BRC and through all the other campus community centers. In this last few moments, is there anything that you would like to share specifically for Black students looking to come into an MBA, or for Latinx students coming into an MBA, since this event is meant to be focused specifically on the Black and Latinx MBA experience? Any words of wisdom or advice that you would recommend?
Yeah, and this is something I used to work in undergraduate admissions, so I would tell this to a lot of prospective Black students looking at UC San Diego and other institutions in higher education. When you look at the numbers of Black or Latinx students across the board in higher ed, especially in California, you're very rarely going to get drastically big numbers. There's usually not going to be a critical mass of Black and brown students on these college campuses. But for me, I saw that as an opportunity to make a difference. At UC San Diego, I didn't find a large number of Black students, but what I did find was a strong Black community. And I felt like that was just as important, because you can go to other institutions sometimes and they may have higher numbers, but the community feel is what is most important. And through the community here, I got job opportunities, I found mentors, and I think that's what really kept me retained as a student at UC San Diego. So of course, there's going to be a number of opportunities for students that you're looking at, but I highly encourage you to consider the community. And that's what kept me at UC San Diego, made me want to continue to give back, was knowing just how tight-knit that community was. And so, yeah, I think that's the biggest piece of advice, is just look for the community beneath the numbers, not just looking at the numbers at a surface level.
I love that. And that's really the highlight, I think, with the Rady program. We are a very small school given the total numbers. Some MBA programs, in fact, some of the MBA programs that are here at this event, they have cohort numbers of 600-700 sometimes coming in. And so, of course, the total number of students is going to be larger. But being able to really find and connect with your community is what it's all about. And the cultural resource centers at UC San Diego really are the place to do that. So I've gotten the warning from our session app. So thank you, Kyler. I want to thank you so much for joining us. The insights you've provided have been absolutely invaluable. Yeah, priceless, invaluable. I think that's how that vocabulary works. And I want to thank you for the time. I know this is definitely past the work day for most folks. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for your insights about BRC, about your experience in the Flex MBA program. And thank you to all of those who took the time to watch this recording. We'll head it off now. Thank you again and have a great evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.